Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Practical Polyglot. In this video, I will be showing you how to use children's books in your language learning endeavor. And I apologize for the somewhat archaic method of screenshot that I'm using, but I cannot find a cheap and or free video screenshot recording software for Windows 10, and I refuse to pay for it. And I got really frustrated, so here I am using my cell phone instead. So, apologies in advance. In this video, we will be discussing why children's books are helpful in your language learning, where you can find them for free or for cheap, how to choose them, and how to learn with them. So, let's first talk about briefly why they're helpful. All children's books often contain a simple storyline, beginning, middle, and end, so this helps us follow a story and maintain our interest. They mostly contain highly contextualized and simple vocabulary. Repetition. High-frequency past tense verbs, such as said, got, was, went, thought, saw. And there are usually extensive visuals. Now, where can you find children's books? You can find children's books for free or for cheap at these websites, which I will show you. So, for example, this one is childrenslibrary.org, and you can see that there's different ages and different themes, and down here you can select many different languages. I'm going to choose Spanish. I'm going to search for a keyword buenas, and if you look, you'll find that here you have a full children's book for you to peruse and practice with. Another great website is Children's Books Forever. You can see on the left here there's about a dozen or so foreign languages. Spanish, some really popular ones too, Spanish, German, English, Dutch, French. So all you do is click on the language, you open it up as a PDF, and immediately you have a PDF with a great story at your fingertips. Now I know that my PowerPoint had 3 websites, but I'm not going to show you one because it's hard to find foreign language sites on there, or foreign language books. Here, if you have Amazon, most of us do, and if you have a Kindle, most of us do, you can download many children's books to your Kindle for free. And if it's not for free, they're only usually $1 or $2. So that's a very useful tool. All I did was search for Spanish children's books Kindle, and a bunch of them popped up. You can do the same for many other languages. I found Finnish, I found German on these websites as well. Which ones do you choose? For the same reasons that I explained that they're very helpful. So find short and simple ones, find ones that include a lot of visuals, find something that's interesting, and preferably a children's book that is authentic, meaning that it is written by a native speaker for a native speaker. But that's not a requirement. Now, what I'd like to do in this segment is briefly explain how you learn with them. So you found your book, you've decided your language, you're ready to sit down and practice with it. What do you do with it? So I'm going to offer you up my list here, and then I'm actually going to walk you through the steps, how I do it myself when I learn with these. So here are the steps really quickly. Cold read first. Read it out loud to practice your pronunciation. Once you're all done with that, go back to the first page. While you're reading the first page again, look for nuances in the language. So word order, is it changing for questions or statements? Endings, look for conjugation. Agreement, is there anything relating to gender? Is there anything relating to number? Are there declensions? Think about why. Guess the meaning of words you don't know. Try and use the visuals and cognates to support your understanding. look up what you don't know. So once you've determined what you do understand, make sure you take time and figure out what you don't and look those up. Google Translate isn't necessarily the worst, but it's really not the best either. So I try to stick with phrases or I try to stick with websites such as Word Reference. Once you've isolated those new words, keep track of those words and phrases in your notebook. And then repeat that process with the following pages. So you can choose to do this every page. You can choose to do this once every chapter, depending on the length of the book that you're reading. But do it in segments. And you may have to do multiple segments, and that's okay. You need to take your time. You need to really absorb and take notice of all the different aspects of the language. Then, once you have all the words in front of you and you've gone through the whole book, read it again with your comprehension tools. Ultimately, add vocabulary to a study set. You can use flashcards or Quizlet and practice. Alright, so let's get started. Here I have a computer version. This is the Amazon Kindle app for the PC. And I'm going to scoot in just a little bit here. So notice here, you got the title. And you start right away. So, first, cold read. Es war einmal ein kleiner Fisch. Lebte in einem Aquarium und hatte das ganze Wasser für sich alleine. Jeden Tag zur gleichen Uhrzeit bekam etwas zu essen. Alright, so I'm not going to read the whole book, but you get the idea. So let's say that was a cold read. So now I go back to the first page. Es war einmal ein kleiner Fisch. So I know fish is fish. I know klein means small. And I know es war means it was. Now I notice here it says, I look at step 3, nuances of the language. So I notice how it's not just klein for small. I notice it became ein kleiner Fisch. And that has to do with the fact that it's following an indefinite article, ein, and preceding a masculine noun, fish. But I didn't know that when I was first reading it. But I noticed it, and that's what you need to do. You really need to take care to notice those little things so you can improve your proficiency. Okay? Es war einmal. Now, at the time that I read this, I didn't know einmal. But, so I guess I looked up the meaning of that phrase. Actually, the whole phrase, es war einmal, is a popular way of saying once upon a time. So I added that to my vocabulary list. Es war einmal. I'm going to work with a little makeshift vocabulary list here. Einmal. Es war. And I'm keeping track of it. Now, this is not my notebook. You would obviously use your notebook that you've designated for your language. But this will do. So I'm keeping track of words I don't know. Alright, there's the first page. Here's the next one. Lebte in einem Aquarium und hatte das ganze Wasser für sich alleine. Okay, so there he is in the aquarium, looking at the visuals. Obviously, aquarium is aquarium. Lebte, I know is he. Das Ganze, ganz is all. Wasser, water. Allein, all alone. So, kind of guessing the meaning here. He's in an aquarium, and he had a lot of water for himself. I didn't know at the time that hatte here is a past tense form of have, so he had. So I would add that to my vocab list. And that's one of the high-frequency past tense verbs that I was talking about. Additionally, war, was, is another high-frequency past tense verb. Children's books are chock full of those words. So I did that with the second page. nuances of the language here in einem Aquarium. That has to do with the preposition that it follows, the case that it's in, and the gender of aquarium. So noticing those things will really help to boost your proficiency and really help with your accuracy. So I do that with the third page, same process. Reread it again, look for nuances, look up words, keep track of them. Bekam etwas zu essen. Look for meaning, what's that saying? Look up the new words, look for nuances of the language, keep track of your words. Alright, so let's say that I've done this with the whole book now. I've done it with all of this, and I broke it up into little segments. So now I have my list. Obviously it would be a little bit longer, that book was a little longer. But now I need to, and now I reread it, and once you've reread it, you want to practice your vocabulary. Now, I am a big fan of Quizlet. Not everyone necessarily is, but I enjoy it. And so when I first did this book, you can see here that I've made a vocabulary list of all the words and phrases that I learned from that book, and makes it easy for me to revisit this vocabulary in practice. Alright, so that's about it in a nutshell. How to utilize children's books to enhance your language learning. Reading speeds up the language acquisition process. I believe it was Stephen Krashen that put forth that importance, that relevance with reading and language acquisition. And it really opens the door for you to expose yourself not only to language in general, high-frequency past tense verbs, contextualized vocabulary, simple storylines, repetition, visuals, but also you can get a little screenshot of the culture of the language, which is of course important as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Have a good day.